Hello, welcome to the channel. The other side of Kwanzaa. In today's video, we will address a topic of great relevance and social impact, corruption in Angola. Discussing corruption is essential to understand the challenges that affect both the economy and the quality of life of Angolan citizens. Over the next few minutes, we will explore the historical context, the most emblematic cases, the impacts on society and the initiatives to combat this problem. The phenomenon of robbery and corruption among rulers in Angola is a complex topic and is related to various political, economic and social issues. Angola, after its independence in 1975, faced a long civil war that significantly affected the country's development and the management of its resources. And due to a long period of civil war, which ended in 2002, the country experienced a complex transition. And with the discovery and exploitation of natural resources, especially oil and diamonds, the country experienced an economic boom. This scenario of abundance of resources, however, also paved the way for mismanagement and corruption practices. The concentration of wealth and the lack of transparency created an environment conducive to deviations and illicit enrichment. Understanding this context is fundamental to analyze how corruption has rooted in different spheres of power. In Angola, several political figures over the years were accused of corruption and diversion of public resources. Some of the most notorious include 1. José Eduardo dos Santos, the former president of Angola, who ruled from 1979 to 2017, faced several allegations of corruption during his government. The management of their children and family members was also often mentioned in corruption cases. 2. Isabel dos Santos. Daughter of the former president, she was considered the richest woman in Africa. Many allegations have been made about the misappropriation of state resources and the mismanagement of public companies during their father's government. 3. Manuel Vicente, former vice president and former president of Senangol, the national oil company. Vicente was accused of corruption, including a case in which he was accused of having tried to bribe a prosecutor in Portugal. 4. Alfredo Manuel, former Minister of Transport, was involved in several investigations related to the diversion of public funds and corruption. These are just a few examples, and corruption in Angola is a systemic problem that affects various areas of government and public administration. Combating these cases remains a challenge for both Angolan citizens and the international community. And one of the best-known cases internationally is what was evidenced in the so-called Luanda leaks, which exposed corruption networks involving high levels of government and foreign investors. In addition to this, several reports point to the diversion of public resources destined to essential areas, such as health, education and infrastructure. These cases demonstrate not only the breadth of the deviations, but also how corruption can undermine citizens' confidence in public institutions. Corruption contributes to the poor allocation of resources, reduces foreign investment and perpetuates social inequality. The economy, although driven by natural resources, suffers from administrative inefficiency. Here are the main forms of corruption in Angola. Corruption manifests itself in different ways in Angola, affecting both the public and private sectors. Diversion of public resources. Funds for the construction of schools, hospitals and infrastructure are diverted, resulting in unfinished or low-quality projects. Nepotism and clientelism. Political indications and hiring of family members or allies in public office reduce the efficiency of the government and prevent opportunities for qualified citizens. Bribery and extortion. Payment of fees is common in sectors such as customs, business licensing, and even access to basic services such as health and education. Money laundering. Unlawful fortunes are often transferred to overseas accounts or invested in real estate and companies to hide their origin. Public services are harmed, from health to education, directly affecting the quality of life of Angolans. The perception of impunity and the lack of transparency feed a vicious cycle of distrust and discontent. Recent Statistics Corruption Perception Index (IPC 2024). According to Transparency International, Angola held 33 points in the CPI, occupying the 121st position among 180 countries. Since 2019, the country has improved 14 points, reflecting continuous efforts in the fight against corruption. Regional position. In sub-Saharan Africa, Angola is ranked 21st among 49 countries evaluated, indicating an intermediate position in the region. Then we will present the consequences that corruption has caused Angola. The effects of corruption are devastating and directly affect the quality of life of the Angolan population. Among the main impacts are increased poverty and social inequality. While a minority illicitly enriches, a large part of the population faces difficulties in accessing health, education, and basic infrastructure. Lack of foreign investment. International companies avoid investing in a country where corruption generates high costs and legal uncertainty. Infrastructure deficits. Roads, hospitals, schools, and other development essential projects are compromised by poor management and diversion of funds. Loss of international credibility. Reports from organizations such as Transparency International often rank Angola among the most corrupt countries in the world, harming their global image. Persistent challenges. Despite the improvements, corruption continues to negatively affect several sectors in Angola. Judicial system. High-profile corruption cases often face delays and obstacles, raising questions about the capacity and independence of judicial institutions. Public services. Corruption directly impacts the provision of essential services, such as health and education, harming the well-being of the population. In recent years, efforts have been made to combat corruption, including institutional reforms and transparency measures. The performance of supervisory bodies and the pressure of civil society are fundamental points in this process. International organizations and strategic partnerships have also been contributing to the implementation of stricter governance practices. These initiatives help create an environment of accountability. Despite the challenges, there are signs that change is possible. The strengthening of institutions, combined with a more active participation by citizens, can transform the scenario and reduce corruption rates. Measures adopted. The Angolan government implemented several initiatives to combat corruption. Asset recovery. Efforts have been made to recover diverted assets and hold those involved accountable through the national judicial system. Legislative reforms. New laws and regulations have been introduced to strengthen transparency and accountability in the public and private sectors. Although Angola has made progress in the fight against corruption, it is crucial to maintain and intensify these efforts to ensure sustainable and equitable development. The active participation of civil society, the independence of judicial institutions, and the continuous implementation of reforms are key elements to achieve more transparent and responsible governance. Recap. We saw how the historical context of Angola, marked by the boom in natural resources, created a fertile ground for corruption, and how this practice affects all sectors of society. It is critical that we continue to discuss and investigate these issues to foster transparency and accountability in institutions. If you are interested in this topic, leave your comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to follow more content that stimulates reflection and debate on topics crucial for our society. Thank you for your attention, and until the next video.